I shall reign triumphant.
Buenos dias, children.
So.
Hell, you're all gonna be doing that.
Welcome back to Villain Review episode 88, and today we are looking at the bad bot himself, Ultron, from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Shout out to GusPool33 and Dr. Corvus for suggesting Ultron, and for every single person who voted for him on the poll. How good of a robot is this Robert California? Let's find out.
Be hostile. I'm here to help. Stop it.
So if we talkin' Ultron, we gotta top Tony Stank, because Ultron's origin in the MCU starts with Tony. After seeing a vision of all his homies dead from space invaders, Tony decided that the Avengers, they might not be enough to save everything when it comes to extraterrestrial threats. So in response to this problem, him and Bruce Banner developed Ultron, a peacekeeping initiative designed to protect the world and do all the saving for the Avengers. Unfortunately, on Ultron's birthday, he realized that humans are kind of the problem, and that they must all be destroyed in order to save the Earth. From there, he turns on Tony and all the other Avengers and tries his darndest to destroy humanity, and it's up to all the heroes to stop him. Out the gate, I like the Ultron origin. It might not be as deep as a character like Thanos, but I mean, it makes complete sense in the universe. His motive of wanting to kill humans to save the world actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it, like global warming and just wars and stuff like that. He's an AI, so he's not really capable of the complex thought that makes Vision rational, but that's what makes him different, and he's a pretty solid villain for it.
All of you against all of me. How can you possibly hope to stop me?
So the subject of Ultron's personality is pretty complicated. When the first trailer came out for Age of Ultron, I remember being super hyped because Ultron was made out to be this pretty creepy villain. I was really hoping that Ultron would take the more gritty style of like Captain America Winter Soldier and introduce it to Avengers. But unfortunately, that's not really what we got. Sure, his intro scene is really cool because he's creepy and ominous, but it's really all we get for that kind of vibe. For the majority of the movie, he's just basically a less funny and charismatic Tony, and that's not done on accident. After all, Tony did create him, so I guess it makes a little bit of sense for him to act like Tony, but to the extent he does, I don't really buy it. If they wanted an evil type villain who was a parallel to Tony, that's fine, but we've already gotten that kind of a few times. Instead, I feel a little sad about that missed potential for Ultron being like a gritty and kind of scary villain, and it kind of just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. What I will say though is that James Spader does a really good job with what he's given, and his voice works really well for Ultron. Again, it just stinks he doesn't get to play up that creepy side more. Also, I don't like Ultron's design. Like, I feel his little minions actually look cooler than him. Instead of looking like a badass, like creepy, awesome person in the comics, he kind of looks like someone out of Shark Tale. I don't know, he just kind of looks off. Maybe it's just me.
I think you missed that.
They're doomed.
Yes.
As I said, the intro when Ultron comes out and he's flexing about how he ain't got strings, that's an awesome scene. It sets up Ultron really well as a villain, and the atmosphere in this scene is just what I wish the rest of the movie was like. I also like the scene where he's actually born and he kills Jarvis. It is an underrated scene, and I think James Spader absolutely kills it here. Honestly, there are quite a few scenes I enjoy for Ultron, but not a whole lot that I don't enjoy. Yes, like I said, I think the personality and actual character leaves something to be desired, but it's never enough to make like a bad scene. There are definitely some lackluster Ultron scenes, but they're never bad, and that's a really good thing. I think the whole ending fight is a little lacking, but one scene I really enjoy is that final confrontation between Ultron and Vision.
You're afraid
Of you.
of death. You're the last one.
First of all, the scene is shot really well, and while it's probably all digital, it still looks pretty good. I really enjoy watching these two non-humans discuss humanity, and it's a pretty real moment for Ultron as ultimately he comes to terms with his death. I know people always get a little mad at me when I say it, but I do feel a little bad for Ultron in this scene. He's a character who was so convinced he was doing good, it's kind of sad to see him so defeated, especially when he can't comprehend what he's doing is wrong. It's a great example of a villain who believes himself to be the hero, and seeing him face failure, like I said, it's a little sad. It is funny though that the three scenes I really enjoy are the ones where he's not in his actual form. It kind of shows to me that James Spader is definitely talented enough to convey the emotion without this super emotive Shark Tale weird face. I don't know, just a coincidence.
How could you be worthy? You're all killers.
So obviously Ultron wants to kill all the humans, but it's not for some boring power motive or anything stupid like that. It actually feels pretty natural. Besides that, Ultron can be pretty manipulative to get what he wants, and we see that when he lies to Wanda and Pietro about his plans for Vision. It's kind of messed up to trick the siblings into helping him, but hey, that's what makes him a villain. He's willing to say pretty much whatever just to get something out of people, and it's also a weirdly human thing for an android. Also, Ultron pulls a really messed up move. He watches X-Men Days of Future Past, right? He's like, yo, this Quicksilver is never gonna be better than Ralph Boner, so I need to kill him. Pretty evil move, but nowhere near as evil as whoever came up with Ralph Boner. Like, can we talk about that? Whoever that is, 10 out of 10, biggest villain of all time. Ultron, though, not so high.
There is no man in charge. Let's talk business.
The origin for Ultron is pretty unique, and I'll admit that when you do remember him, he does stand out a little bit amongst the villains. Unfortunately, I really think that not using the creepy angle was a huge missed opportunity, and his Tony Stark-esque personality we've seen multiple times, it makes him not that memorable in the grand scheme of the MCU. I do like the scenes though when he's allowed to be creepy, although we don't really get a whole lot, and that final scene with Vision is really good. He's by no means an awful villain, but there's a reason he's never brought up in that conversation of who's the best villain in the MCU. I think what could have been a really unique and gritty villain turned out to be less Thanos lowkey and more like Crossbones Caecilius. I'm gonna give Ultron a 6.5.
Said, what doesn't kill you just makes me stronger.
Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think of Ultron in the comments below. Am I wrong? Am I right? Make sure you go vote on the poll for next week's villain, and subscribe to see the new villain review I make every single Monday. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. Bill Cipher at 2500. I'll see you next time.